I'm Jake.
And I'm Brian.
And you're listening to Like It Was Yesterday.
Let's jump in the time machine. Welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Brian Deershaw. With me, as always, is my co-host, my compatriot, my boon companion, Jake Wakefield. Jacob, how are you?
Hi, buddy.
Hey.
Hello from the other side.
Are you dead? Are you a ghost now?
I'm Ghost Adele.
You're Ghost Adele. Oh, man. Heaven must have an amazing band. What with apparently Adele's now dead, and she could be singing with like David Bowie and Jimi Hendrix and Heaven's got a wonderful band.
I was literally, as soon as you said that, I'm like, man, who's dead?
Just a lot of people.
I was like, wait, yeah, there's a lot of dead people. Wow.
By now we've bumped off, probably billions at this point.
Yeah.
And I bet a few of them could play a lick or two.
Play a lick? What does that mean?
I've never heard that. Like when you play like a little riff on a guitar.
Sure.
Play like a lick. Some
yes.
hot licks. No? Okay.
No.
Well, you're not a music person, but...
So
that's going to make today weird.
Oh, man. It is going to make today weird.
So today, we don't have a guest.
No.
Because I guess we're just like not popular or whatever, and just nobody likes us or something. I don't know.
Maybe we're dead.
Oh, maybe I'm on the other side too.
Whoa.
Hello from the same side. The ghost side.
Ooh. I can't even imagine what podcasting would be like in heaven.
Oh, heaven must have an incredible podcast.
If you're in heaven, leave a comment. If you're in heaven, like and subscribe. Thanks.
So podcasting is pretty young.
Yes.
Podcasting as we know it is probably maybe a decade old.
All right. Yeah.
And now I'm trying to think of like if there have been any prominent podcasters that are dead. And it's got to be a pretty short list.
I guess like the closest thing is radio, and even that's, I mean, on the scale of human history, pretty young.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to leave that to Google and God. Google and God.
In that order.
Throw it up to Google and God. Anyway, so today...
So we got on that tangent because we're talking about music.
But you reference music so eloquently, and then I just crushed it. I smashed it down, and I said, no, it's my bits.
Yeah, I was there. I saw that. They all saw that.
Yep. Everyone's going to judge me. And see, the funny thing is, I'm committing all of these sins of conversation, and then I'm recording them and putting them out for the world to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
I either have no fear or I really hate myself. One of the two. There's clearly no third option.
Both?
Oh,
you could both.
You cut to the core of me just then.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Well, so today we're talking about music.
Can I get points for the more song names I reference in this?
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be just like our non-Disney movie episode where you're going to say a bunch of songs and I'm going to be like, oh, I've never heard of it. And that's going to be fun for a while.
That's going to be great. Yeah, that's how I'll keep up with the band conversation. We just posted the marching band episode, the band about the episode about like band and I guess concert band, where you and our guest Adam Johnson talked, I guess, at length about being in band and playing instruments and all this fantastic stuff. Talked about Peter and the Wolf, which I will have you know,
yes,
is newer than a saxophone.
This brings us to our new segment, Newer Than a Saxophone.
Where we list things that are newer than a saxophone. Podcasts?
Podcasts.
Nice.
Got in one. The television, newer than a saxophone.
Yep. I also found out that Mr. Sax made a saxophone. His name was just Sax.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Adolphus Sax.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, now you know.
I Wikipedia'd that. And
Adolphus Sax, older than a saxophone.
Hey.
Huh?
Nice.
Yeah. Blu-ray players are also newer than a saxophone.
That's true.
And thus ends the segment, Newer Than a Saxophone.
Cool.
See y'all next week for another thrilling installment of Newer Than a Saxophone. Okay.
Man.
So yeah, you pulled back the curtain a little bit.
Yeah.
The day we are recording this episode is the day that episode aired. So
Yes.
so it's out there in the world, and you can listen to us chat about being in band and playing music, and you can hear Jake just sort of like ask some questions.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm not really talking. I'm just kind of there.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm asking about like how band worked and like how being in band worked.
How does music work?
How does band? M band?
Are you band? Am I band? Who is band?
What is band?
What is band?
What is band?
And man asked, what is band?
So that's our topic.
Yeah.
What is band?
What is band?
Can I make a slight change?
Books in 1940s Germany. Band.
And newer than a saxophone.
And newer than... Oh, we've done it!
I really thought that was where you were going with that. I'm like, you're not wrong.
Yep. This is our other segment, What is Band? Okay, we should get into it.
These are the worst segments.
Yeah, well, at least we're trying, Jake.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Someone at this table is trying, and I don't know who it is because it's not me.
All right, our topic, for reals.
For realsies.
No backsies.
Nope.
Is band
Music. Music played by a band.
Played by a band.
Or I suppose solo artists would also count.
Yes. A band or solo artist that you are not in or are not that person.
What is this description?
Detailed.
Overly detailed?
Extremely detailed.
It's just music that you grew up with, right?
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, music that we grew up with.
But specifically a band that you are not in that could be made up of one or more people.
Yes.
Creating music with either voice or instrument.
Yes, preferably newer than a saxophone.
Preferably newer than a saxophone.
All right. So ska music, you're in.
Yeah, ska music, you're okay. Pop punk, you're all right. You're
all right.
in.
Well, speaking thinking of ska music, like that was one of those genres of music that I discovered in high school and like early middle school, because that was the time of like Real Big Fish, and I think it was AFI came out around then, and they were much more of like the like yelling style of ska.
Yeah.
But that was probably like one of my second favorite bands at the time was sorry, not AFI, but
Real Big Fish.
Yeah, Real Big Fish was where I was going with that.
Yeah, I definitely, I'm still a fan of Real Big Fish.
For sure. It's always awesome when they come through.
I saw them a year ago. They were amazing.
Yeah, they come through about every year through Fort Collins.
Yeah, for some reason they love our town, and I'm okay with it.
Oh, I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, because they throw a good party.
Oh, we love Real Big Fish.
Yeah. I felt like ska kind of like in our like junior high and high school days, it kind of like had this like up and down curve where it just kind of popped up as popular for a little bit, then it went away, then it came back, and
it was kind of always there. It just kind of came in and out when a new song came out. Usually,
and it was like it was also like it was kind of like on the edge of like punk music, and like pop punk was starting to be a thing.
No, pop punk was really growing in that era. Like that was.
I mean, hell, this was the era when like really pop punk, like Avril Lavigne, was starting to get traction. So I think ska kind of like grabbed on to the coattails of that
a little bit, yeah.
And then also there was the brief window while we were in school where like swing music came back.
Oh, I don't really remember that.
Brian Setzer Orchestra, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy.
Oh, okay, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
like all those bands just had this like heyday for like it felt like maybe 6 months.
Yeah, it was real short.
And I felt like ska also was like, oh, we're also a fun, energetic band that has brass, so listen to us as well.
Maybe. I remember a lot of music just popping in and out back when I was that age, like high school, middle school.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because we're just kind of experimenting with all sorts of music. Like, we didn't really know what we really liked back then.
Sure.
Like, back in high school, I didn't know that I liked a lot of, like, orchestrated music because it wasn't available. Like, now I'll listen to, like, video game and movie soundtracks all the time, especially when I'm, like, actively doing something or, like, out on a run. But back then, I didn't really, because that wasn't the music that was really, like, advertised and like a lot of people talked about, at least in my circles. I don't know what it was like in band circles, but
it always felt, to me, it always kind of felt separate.
Okay.
Like, we're creating music, but it doesn't really have a real connection to the stuff I listen to.
Okay. That makes sense. I mean, it's like if you wrote papers all the time in high school, but you never read the same things you wrote about.
Sure, yeah, exactly. And like some of that stuff I did pick up, but honestly, like I was in like concert bands and orchestra for so long, and I don't really listen to that kind of music. Like, you listen to that kind of music a lot more than I do.
Yeah,
with like music and video game scores, like you were saying. The only thing that I kind of carried with me was jazz, like big band jazz, like Count Basie Orchestra, Duke Ellington, all of that stuff. Like that stuff I kind of clung to. Right. Because that was the part of the stuff that I was creating that I really, really dug. Like, I loved playing concert, like really good concert band music or really good orchestral music. I loved playing it. Yeah. But I wasn't so big on listening to it.
It's different, for sure.
Yeah.
No, it totally makes sense. I guess I have a question.
Yes.
An actual question now.
Okay. Yeah.
Because like this whole talk about like music that you liked back then made me think like, what was like, even when you were a little kid, real young, what was the first like CD or heck, even going back into a cassette that you bought or that you remember your parents buying for you? It doesn't necessarily have to be with your own money, because I know the lines kind of get blurry when you're a little kid with allowances and everything.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't remember too much. I think my sister was more on the cassette tape.
All right.
And I don't think I really had much of anything until it was much more CD era.
No, that's true. We came in at the age where CDs were like the hot thing.
Yeah.
And once we got old enough to be able to afford a CD player, they were affordable for everyone. It wasn't like this really, really rare thing that only like really rich people could get anymore.
Yeah. We were like, I was just kind of paying attention to actively listening to music.
Yeah.
Right at that time when, yeah, you're right. Like, it was just now it was the common thing to have a CD player. So you could get a Discman for pretty cheap.
Yeah, like the late 90s. Like I had a off-brand like Walkman cassette player, and I don't remember really ever using it because I'd listen to the radio.
Yeah,
and of course back then, like the safe thing to listen to on the radio was oldies.
Yep, that's what I grew up on.
Because it's when you're singing about sex, drugs, and violence, it's okay as long as you use weird words that kids don't understand.
Yeah. And a sweet pop and a sweet old pop beat.
Oh yeah, that's how you get away with it.
Yeah, I listen. I pay attention to details a lot more today than I did when I was younger.
For sure.
And so now when I listen to oldies songs, sometimes there are a few that I used to love.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I can't in good faith listen to this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Just the lyrics are like, oh no, this is all about like tricking a woman into bed, basically.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
And
like,
it's
so common in that era.
It's weird to interact with those different like societal norms as the days go along, and we learn more as like a human race of how to interact with people.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, sometimes the lyrics don't change meaning at all. Like one of my favorite songs as a kid was "Come Together" by the Beatles. You listen to that back then, listen to it now, and you're like, yeah, those are words.
Yep.
They're put in order. That's pleasant to hear.
Yep. You asked about CDs.
Yeah, like the first one you bought.
The first one. I don't remember exactly the first one.
Okay.
But like in amongst those the first few CDs that I bought, there was the Wallflowers.
Okay. So I know the Wallflowers by name, but could you tell me one of their like big songs?
Well, their big hit was like One Headlight.
Okay.
We can drive it home with one headlight.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Well,
I did not at all know what song that was.
Yeah, and that actual that album, I still like it. I still think it's a really nice album.
Sure.
And for probably a full year, because I had a little 5 CD changer stereo system in my room.
Ooh, the one that popped out the whole CD tray where there was like a whole revolving like table where the CDs went in. Oh yeah, I know the type you're talking about.
And that was it just had a home in that changer.
Sure.
And for probably a full year, like I've always been a person that has to listen to something that I've listened to a bunch to fall asleep to.
Oh, okay.
And
I get you.
Either music or like comedy, like podcasts nowadays. Like there's some podcast episodes that I've listened to 100 times.
Yeah,
and I'll just listen to it as I'm going to sleep.
It just becomes white noise at that point.
Yeah. And this album was it for me.
Okay.
So and then I moved on to Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon.
All right, nice.
But Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon was probably not a great choice. One, it has a lot of peaks and valleys in it, and for the most part, it's a fairly like calm, easy listening album.
Yeah, but there's a few points where it kind of like ramps up sharply.
Well, and like halfway through, at the start of Time, it starts with a bunch of alarm clocks going off.
Yeah, I was thinking of Money also.
Yeah, so for a while, I would put that on, I would fall asleep, and then that track would wake me up.
Nice.
And then I'd get up and be like, ha, ha, and then I'd roll back over. And I did that for probably 6 months.
Wow. Okay.
I never learned my lesson.
Yeah, I guess not.
I guess I was okay with it. I don't know. I don't know what was with me. Anyway, so Wallflowers.
All right.
And then
Pink Floyd.
Well, that was my dad's. I just borrowed it.
Oh, your dad was a Pink Floyd sort of guy, huh?
Well, he had the album. I don't know.
It was there.
I don't know how much of a Pink Floyd guy he was.
Okay, gotcha. Like my dad was more of a Beach Boys guy.
Sure.
That was
we
jam.
we have Beach Boys in the collection as well.
Oh yeah, and every oldie station plays that.
Yeah.
At least when we were kids. I don't know if they've moved on from that since then.
To be honest, all these
honest,
stations have gotten weird these days.
Ooh.
It used to be firmly 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
And now it's just like whatever. Like you might turn on an oldie station and they'll play like Nirvana.
Actually, no, that's true. I was listening to an oldie station a day or two ago at a coffee shop. Like I haven't really listened to an oldie station in 10 years, but
sure.
It was on, and they were playing Foo Fighters, followed by Michael Jackson, and then it just kept going back in time from there. I was like, all right, sure.
And then
play some Bee Gees, who knows?
Did they ever get pre-sax? When it was just all oddly sized string instruments.
Lutes.
Yep.
Traveling bards.
So then, let's see, what else did I actually have? I had one of the Jock Jam CDs.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to putting that on the blog.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to pop that open and probably listen to that in YouTube or something. But
with like...
It's funny because I don't remember any of the songs on it.
No. I remember there was like Come and Ride the Train or Ride It, which when you think about it is it was often played at sporting events.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a hypersexual song.
Oh, but I mean, yeah, that's the funny thing.
The train is a penis.
Was it Love Train? People all over the world.
No, it was
hands.
It was Come on, ride the train, or ride it, choo choo.
I don't know it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I never actually had Jock Jams.
Fair enough, but it was everywhere in the 90s. I also had the first two albums by Smash Mouth.
All right, yeah. I had the first. I didn't have their second.
Yeah.
But they were the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're like a laughingstock. And okay, I was listening to Comedy Bang Bang one day.
Yeah.
And Scott Aukerman was talking about Smash Mouth, and he was trying to defend.
All right.
He's like, no, Smash Mouth is actually good. And then he couldn't come up with a good argument. And I was like,
for reals.
And I had the same thought as him, which was like, no, they were good. They were totally good. Yeah. And I still have, like, in my, like, virtual music collection online,
sure,
I have those albums.
Yeah.
So I pulled out my phone and I downloaded it to my player, and I listened to it, and I was like, okay, maybe not this one. And I skipped to the next track, and I'm like, no, wait, maybe not this one. No, but the next one.
Yeah.
Okay, Walking on the Sun, okay.
Maybe it's just like you have to be in the 90s to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like listening to it now is like going into the woods and listening to like those Pure Mood CDs. It would just be like too much.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting in like a fashion mall in the 90s listening to Smash Mouth, you're like, yes, this is where I should listen to Smash Mouth. This is its natural environment.
Yeah.
You can't just go into like an opera house and listen to ska. That's silly. Like you can't just listen to Smash Mouth in the 2010s like a fool.
Yeah. Yeah,
they'll throw bread at your head.
I'm still so happy. I love it when just bizarre dumb stories happen in Fort Collins.
Well, yeah,
because it rarely happens.
It's a very tame town in general. It's not a big town. I mean, even now it maybe has
140,000,
140, yeah,
something like that.
Like we haven't peaked to the 200,000 people mark, and it's kind of just a middle class, like generic white town.
Yeah.
No, it's still true. It's like, in the future they're gonna make fun of us as having like the white picket fences, like we
totally,
like,
yeah.
Like if you've ever seen Pleasantville,
yeah.
like we're that town before the apocalypse happens.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that's why it's fun when we see us in the news for something goofy, like getting
well, and I've heard so many people from everywhere reference him throwing bread, or people throwing bread at him, and him cursing out the crowd, and every time I'm like, haha, that's my town.
I live there.
That they're accidentally referencing.
No, for sure.
Same thing with Balloon Boy. That's another big one.
Oh man.
Yep. If you're listening and you're not from Fort Collins, or the area, and you remember Balloon Boy, the kid that was the hoax, where the kid was hiding in the attic and there's like a weird balloon, and that was in Fort Collins.
And if you are or know Balloon Boy, can you get him on the show?
Falcon Heen.
That's an awesome name. That's his name?
His name's Falcon.
That's awesome.
His name's Falcon, and he was found on the ground.
Wow.
How's that for your irony?
That's like my second favorite like kid name right now, behind Finn Wolfhard.
Finn Wolfhard?
Yeah. You know who that is?
No.
It's a kid from Stranger Things.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm like, that's a kick-ass name.
Kick-ass kid, too.
Yeah.
Those are some good kids on that show.
Yeah. No,
Wow, Finn Wolfhard. That's amazing.
Right? That's a really cool name.
But yeah, the Heen boys, because he has two brothers.
Okay.
They're in a band.
Oh.
They're just like a little like, well, at least they were in a band. Not long after the whole Balloon Boy incident.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's sort of. Yeah, it's that classic like small town weird thing that happens.
Yeah. So anyway, I was pretty stoked when that happened at of all things, the Taste of Fort Collins, which is just a thing where people get together and try samples from different food vendors.
Yeah, it's kind of like a more fancy like street festival. It's something fancy.
Super tame, and then
that event was so big, like not Taste of Fort Collins, but the Smash Mouth bread incidents, that I heard no news. It was the month I was in Hawaii working on that crappy little farm.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I heard from everyone. I mean, I texted people day to day, but like that one day, like 30 people like, did you hear what happened? Did you see? I'm like, no, what? Like Smash Mouth hit a guy. And of course his name was Smash Mouth. He hit a guy with
Jonathan
with bread.
Smash Mouth.
Mr. Mouth, first name Smash. Yeah. All right, so they were to rope this back into the original question.
Yeah.
They were
I had that
in your like top discs.
I had my Discman, and we have a big patch of grass in the backyard.
Yeah.
And side story, on stage recently, I got the suggestion of grass and for a monologue, and it reminded me of playing baseball in my backyard.
Yeah.
But I never really played baseball with anybody else. It was just me.
Oh.
So it was just I was just telling everybody about how I used to grab my t-ball bat and like 4 baseballs, and I would just go into the backyard, throw the ball up to myself, hit it, and then have to slowly walk across the yard and pick up the baseballs.
It's like playing frisbee by yourself.
Yep, or like when you have a football and you like throw it high arc in the air to catch it. Because you're a sad boy who doesn't have friends. So anyway,
wow,
big patch of grass, and so we've always had a ride-on mower.
Yeah, right.
And so when I was a kid, I would mow the lawn, and I would pop Smash Mouth into the Discman.
Nice.
And that was my mowing the lawn music.
All right.
Every time.
So that was like linked to memory, no matter what. Like you smell the smell of cut grass whenever you.
Yeah, it's the same way that one of my other first ones was the Black Album by Metallica.
All right.
Which I still like. It's not as... I don't like it as much as I used to.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold up super well, but it's still pretty decent. I like it. A lot of Metallica fans are like...
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's when they started to sell out.
Oh, man.
Or whatever. I don't fucking care.
I remember a lot of people really loving Metallica back then, and they're obviously in the news a lot in like the early 2000s with the whole Napster incident. Yep. But I never really listened to them. I liked like one of their songs.
They had some good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I heard them on the radio a lot, and I wouldn't like change it from that, but I never really got into Metallica. I don't know why.
I don't know. But
just never caught on.
So talking about the specific memories, like I had that album and I really, really liked it. Mm-hmm. And when it came time to my grandparents had to move to like assisted living.
Yeah.
And so we were gonna sell their house.
Okay.
And so my parents and my sister and I
think I helped your grandparents move once. Or someone in your family. Yeah.
Possibly.
They were in Loveland. That's all I remember.
Yeah, they were in Loveland for a little while.
Yeah, I might have helped with that. Long ago.
Yeah, but we were... So it was left to the 4 of us to do most of the work packing up their house.
Okay.
And so over Christmas break that year, we all went down for like a week.
All right.
And just worked. and we put a little CD player on the shelf while we were working. And one day I put in Black Album.
Oh.
And it was just, the player was set to repeat.
Right.
And we were just busy working. So that album played like 6 or 7 times.
Oof.
And so every time I hear that album, I think about cleaning out my grandparents' basement.
Yeah. It's crazy how much music can be linked to memory like that. There's a few songs like that. We could even do just like a podcast episode where we just talk about like 2 of those each, because I feel like everyone has a song that's
specific
linked
memories.
to a very specific memory.
Yeah.
And like a very like dramatic sort of memory.
Well, it's like the Pimps of Joy time.
Yeah.
When we saw, I had, that was really strong for me, being linked to that gal that I was really into, and
the one from our first crush episode. That one.
Did I mention her from CSU?
Ooh, no, I don't think you got to people at CSU.
Oh, okay, then we all went to Tour de Fat.
Okay,
and
that makes sense because I remember seeing Pimps of Joy time there.
Yeah, and that was another specific music memory where it was like,
sure,
oh, things ended badly with her, and now I can't listen to the Pimps of Joy time, which is like a super fun funk band, and it took me like 8 years before I could listen to them again.
They're just celebrating while you're sitting there eating your sad turkey leg.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Oh no.
Yeah, so it's amazing how music can have that very specific impact.
For sure.
What were your first like cassettes or CDs?
So I think I've said it before in the podcast that my family was really into Disney and musicals in general.
Yeah.
So that, it wasn't the first one I bought, but the first one I really remember my parents buying. This was a cassette because I remember listening to it on a road trip, and we had a little cassette player in the dashboard on the radio, and that was the Lion King soundtrack. Okay. Now, I mean, they've got the new Lion King coming up, the live action / computer generated animated one.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard about that?
No.
Oh yeah,
I heard about Beauty and the Beast, but I didn't hear they were doing it for Lion King.
I guess that's like their whole thing. They're
makes sense
re-releasing them for a new generation. But not listening to Lion King was like, we went out to Disneyland. This was, let's see, 1995 was when the Avs started, right?
Yes.
Probably 1996 or 7 then.
Okay.
Because I remember we were at Disneyland, we saw one of the Avalanche players in the pool.
Oh.
And my dad yelled out his name, and then he immediately ducked below the water. Like a cool dude. But no, we listened to that just on repeat. All the way there.
It's probably John Clem.
All the way back.
Clem.
I don't know. I don't remember who that is.
I just picked a player who played with them around that time.
Nice. No, so
just a reference.
It's a reference. You hockey players might get that one. Shout out to all our hockey fans.
So you listened to it,
yeah,
all the way there and back.
No, and I'm sure it was torture. I mean, I hear my friends who are parents now talking about how listening to Frozen on basically on loop is a little bit torturous, and I'm sure that my parents suffered through Lion King and that little Jonathan Taylor Thomas singing about how he wants to be a mighty king, so enemies beware.
Uh-huh.
But I've never seen a king or beast with quite so little hair. He's going to be the main event that no one can ignore. Wait.
Yeah, keep going.
No, I don't remember. Oh, dang it. He's something working on his roar.
Yep.
And then that's all I remember.
Blah, blah, blah. I just can't wait to be a king.
Yeah, something king. So that was the first like real cassette I remember having.
Uh-huh.
we were the sort of family where my parents would pop in a Disney movie or like 4 and just let it play like the whole afternoon. So there's always like noise on in the house
pop
that.
Pop those VHSs out of those puffy jackets.
Yep.
that they were in.
Yep.
For some reason.
I feel like we could, if we looked on the internet, we could find that sound of it giving that like pop, that like plastic pop.
That is such a sense memory.
Mm-hmm. And then that like ka-chunking sound of pushing it in to the VCR.
Yeah, there's nothing, I don't think like, because clearly anyone who has sentimentality for VHS is just for the trappings, because the quality was shit.
Oh, for sure.
Really bad quality.
Yeah, I mean...
And thank God we advanced past that.
Yeah.
But there's just... You just can't replace that... All of those sensory, tactile things.
Well, it's something that the newer generation of, I guess, electronics and technology in general doesn't really have, is that, like, analog, really tactile feeling of interacting with it.
Yeah.
I can download an app on my phone, play it, and never have to have a moving part do anything.
Yeah.
The closest I have is maybe plugging in the charger. Mm-hmm. But back then it's like, you pop out the CD or you pop out the VHS, you pop it into the VCR, it goes ka-chunk, and then does that like little rewinding sound to prep it up. And then you have to press play and it does that little like light mechanical sound, and then there's that static as the signal hits the TV, because apparently back then I don't know, signals went slower or something. I don't know.
And then right into the FBI warning.
Yeah, right into that silent FBI warning, warning me never to copy that Disney movie.
I'm sorry, what were you saying as you're hitting record?
As you're taping over that little like piece of plastic that they removed.
Yep.
To make sure that you could copy the tape for your buddy.
Well, see, that's one of those other just like lovely little things that is gone, and like I love being nostalgic about it, but at the same time, like, I'm glad to share something with my friend, I don't have to tape over a thing and then string 2 VCRs together and do this whole song and dance just to create an inferior copy to share with my friend.
Well, I think that's part of the show that we've kind of never really officially said, is that we talk about a bunch of nostalgic stuff. That doesn't necessarily make it better than what we have right now.
Absolutely. And there's no like, and I also don't believe in the narrative of like, well, we had to do so much more to get things to do things. So, it built character or any of that crap. I don't believe in that either.
Yeah. We're not going to be talking about like, oh, I had to walk uphill both ways to get to school.
Yeah.
And that makes me a better person for that.
Because just because you had to go to greater lengths to obtain the things, yes, absolutely, you might have a closer tie to those things.
Sure.
Because you had to do more work to get them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, people today build character in other ways.
Yeah.
Totally. And they don't have to waste time on the bullshit of tracking down a VHS tape and copying it and doing all of that crap.
Yeah. See, like that's the sort of stuff we had to do in like high school and middle school, like to get, because that was still like, but I guess by then DVDs were a thing, so we could still like pirate DVDs. But like, they have robotics in school now. That's awesome.
Yeah,
you can build robots.
Well, and
like for us, it was only like a pipe dream. We saw BattleBots on TV.
Oh yeah,
and we're like, oh man, I wish I had anything that could make robots. And we go in like your basement. We got some scrap wood and hammers.
Yep.
All right, we're building a sled.
How do we strap these together?
Yeah.
Well, and like some kid that's like really interested in video, instead of spending all that time tracking down stuff to copy stuff and specific copies, no, they can click on a YouTube link, watch the video, and then be like, oh, and then instead with all of that extra time that they're not wasting, they can be like, oh, I'm also going to download this free video editing software and learn how to and start learning how to edit videos.
Yeah, and it's awesome. It helps push the art really far. Like,
so
people are learning at a fantastic rate, and it's so exciting to see all this cool stuff that people do.
Yeah, so I think like the end result for me, and it sounds like you're on the same board, is all of this nostalgic stuff is wonderful.
Yeah,
it's really great, and it's nice to think about and embrace those things. Mm-hmm. But unequivocally, things are better today.
Well, yeah, like just because it happened and we experienced it doesn't make it necessarily better. It's just fun to talk about,
and fun and different,
and hopefully a way that we can talk to like other people and bond with them. Yeah, because it's easy to be like, hey, here's this band I like. You like that band? Like I could be like, hey, you know Linkin Park? Yep. I feel like a lot of people our age know Linkin Park.
That was another one of my first CDs in high school.
See, that was
Meteora, I believe
actually,
it was.
That Hybrid Theory was their first one.
Oh, I think it was Hybrid Theory. It was Hybrid Theory.
And
I was crawling in my skin.
Yeah, those words. They cannot heal?
I think it was wounds.
Wounds?
These wounds they cannot heal.
Fear is how I fall. Confusing what is real.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there was some scratching. and then some light scratching.
My skin.
And then at some other point, a guy angrily yelled a rap.
Yeah. Oh, man. That was the first CD I actually did buy.
Yeah.
I bought that, actually, weirdly enough, on another road trip out to Minnesota, I think.
Yeah.
And I listened to that incessantly. Linkin Park was probably my favorite band for like most of high school.
Okay. Well, that perfectly brings us to what I also wanted to talk about was your favorite band. So Linkin Park was pretty huge for you
at the time. Yeah.
You know what? It was so big for you that I actually do. Now I'm thinking about it. I remember you listening to Linkin Park a bunch.
Probably, yeah. I like that. Really, that was kind of the only CD I had. Like, because I started like working about the time when Napster came along.
Yeah.
And a lot of my money, back then, like I kind of helped pay rent a few times and did stuff like that. Sure. So I didn't have like a lot of disposable income.
Yeah.
So I bought Linkin Park and found out what I could through friends, and through Napster, and it helped me kind of discover a little bit of new music, which is nice.
Before, because I imagine that was probably like firmly high school when Linkin Park kind of hit.
Yeah, that's
like maybe
definitely
like 2000, 2001-ish.
I distinctly remember it was they first became really big when Cartoon Network started showing Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah.
During their really really early Toonami blocks and their Adult Swim blocks, because they advertised on the show. During the ads in between.
Well, and you could just randomly clip together shots from an anime and put a Linkin Park song underneath it, and there you go. You got a music video.
It's funny, but I feel like a lot of people who are now video editors, that's how they got their start.
Sure, I bet you a bunch did.
No, like making
stuff like that,
making early 90s or early 2000s, late 90s anime music videos was like a lot of people's first jump into like using Adobe Premiere. Like that's how I learned to use Adobe Premiere, was making anime music videos. It's great.
Before that, was there like a specific band or something that you were really into?
I think that we can all agree that everyone was into Bare Naked Ladies.
That
was middle school for me.
Yeah, middle school through high school.
Okay.
They were my favorite band. Absolutely.
I only knew of them through the radio, so I knew One Week, and then they played a few other songs.
Yeah, they had
here and there.
They had like maybe like 3 or 4 singles, I think.
Yeah, But like 1 week was the thing that got them huge, and like that was my first like song I remember that wasn't from a musical. Yeah. So, I loved it, and it was totally different than anything I had heard before.
It's a good tune.
Yeah, and I sang it like incessantly, and I begged my parents to buy it for me, their actual CD. And my parents never would, because they were a lewd band. They were named Bare Naked Ladies.
Ew.
It was so bad that when eventually that era of piracy came through Napster, I actually had to rename all the names of their of their songs in the computer to like BNL.
Yep.
So that they wouldn't know what it was. I think that came out, let's see.
98.
98?
I just looked it up, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So 98 would be...
Yeah, that makes sense. That would have been right before I moved to Fort Collins again.
Yeah, that's like 7th, 8th grade. For us.
Yeah, and I would have been in 7th, 8th grade, depending on exactly when it came out.
Yeah. So yeah, that was... And that's what kicked it off for me. Like, I don't really have too many... I can't really think of any specific, like, stories of, like, I knew this band before they were big.
Sure.
Most of the bands, especially when I was, like... Well, definitely when I was, like, younger, it was, like, I would hear a band on the radio.
Sure.
Or, like, on one of the late night MTV music video blocks when they actually did that.
Oh yeah. That's how I learned a lot about like Smash Mouth's other songs that were on the radio. I remember that a lot.
And so of course, like if they're getting played on the radio or on MTV, they've already broken.
Yeah, they've kind of made it. Yeah.
So you've missed the wave of being one of the cool kids.
Stop.
And I did know a few people that were like clung to like being the cool kid that knew some band when, and it's like, well, you just happened to stumble across them at a club or something.
Sure,
like that you don't earn credits.
Did you know someone that knew Bare Naked Ladies before they were like a thing?
No, not them. But I was just thinking about the fact that like when 1 week became popular, that's when I started listening to Bare Naked Ladies. So it was like they became like, that was the weeks after it it started charting, that was their apex.
Yeah.
I mean, they hung out for quite a while.
Well, sure, yeah.
As a fairly popular band, and they still have a huge following. But that was kind of like when they hit the top.
Yeah.
And so they were at the top when I was like, oh, hey, look at this new band.
Right, yeah.
This band that already had like 4 or 5 albums out.
I remember my neighbor introduced me to the band. He's like, oh, check out this new cool band. And he just had the CD probably from finding it on TV. And like, for probably like 2 to 3 days after that, I did my best to like learn all the lyrics to 1 week and everything. I ended up getting in trouble again. Thanks a lot, Bare Naked Ladies.
Salute.
Well, I borrowed the CD from my buddy to listen to it.
You didn't hide it in a book?
Actually, no, that's incorrect. He had a CD. He burned a tape of it, because back then you could do that.
Yeah.
Like the stereos had both players, and you could just click on the music for one and copy it to the cassette. Yep. So I had a cassette that I probably played on that crappy Walkman I told you about. And my parents found out about it, and they're like, "Who's this?" And I'm like, "It's a band my friend told me." And they're like, "What's their name?" They're like, "It's Bare Naked Ladies." And I got chewed out for like 4 hours.
Oh my god!
It's like a whole afternoon of my mom taking me line through line of 1 week and explaining to me why it is all like code words for sex. And the thing is, I still remember one argument that's like great. There's the line where he's like, "I'm always flying off the backswing."
Yeah.
And he's talking about being in an argument and how he's always like losing his temper.
Yeah.
my mom was convinced that flying off the backswing meant that you were having sex and taking off a condom and having unprotected sex while like having this whole like illicit affair.
So, and this was part of your the chewing out session?
Yes. The in-depth explanation.
So the thing that you probably couldn't have imagined would be a thing for people at that point in time.
Yeah. But maybe it was just a very covert...
I need you to know that this is a thing people do. They take off condoms.
It was a really...
during affairs.
Like, maybe I just had the context wrong, and my parents were like, no, this is a chance for us to talk about sex with him, finally. And they just, like, go through and they're, like, making up stuff to the lyrics.
In the context of being angry. Oh, man. I don't remember many conversations about, like lewd content or anything like that. My parents really weren't into.
If I ever have to do a like solo show on this, I could tell you a thing or two about lewd content.
Well, we'll have to talk about it. We'll definitely have to talk about it.
We'll do an episode just about the sex talk, I think.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Mine was pretty short.
Okay, we'll save it for later. You can't.
Yeah, okay. I won't.
You have to wait until you find a podcast
I won't rip
episode that you really, really love, and then once you're really committed to it, then you can talk about the first sex talk.
Okay. Well, I won't rip off my condom just yet.
Thanks.
I was trying to make that into a thing. It was like turn the callback into a metaphor.
And I just got a really weird mental image
of me taking off a condom.
Well, but you weren't like wearing like you're supposed to. I was thinking you were like wearing it like it's a glove. You're like
the classic like when they show sex ed on TV.
Yeah,
it's always like the teacher awkwardly putting the condom over their entire forearm. And everyone's like, ha ha ha, it's funny, it's a joke.
It's condoms. Yeah, bare naked ladies taught me about that. Yay.
I'm trying to think
about songs.
The interesting thing is like you didn't have this wide access that we do now.
Yeah, to art and music in general. Sure.
And so like now like over the last, 5-10 years, I've discovered so much music from just these weird niche corners, some person that's in her dorm room in New York making really cool ukulele music.
No, I found a band that I really liked, that they made music that was basically, how fan fiction works. It's fan music for Gravity Falls, and that's like how I found out about them. I was like, wow, look at this. Like, and I'd like listen to some of their other stuff that's like not related to Gravity Falls. I don't know Gravity Falls well enough to really know. I mean, I watched it once, but I was like, that's cool. Like, there's like this platform where you can get this really niche stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think when I was when I was a kid, it was just sort of like if it happens to be on the radio, or I happened to see it on TV, and for me that was about it. Like I didn't really have any friends that were like, you got to check this out. I mean,
for sure,
our friend Brady did a little bit. Like he introduced me to Tool and Seven Dust.
Oh wow, Seven Dust.
Yeah.
Wow.
I listened to Seven Dust recently. Holds up. They're fun.
Yeah?
They're a fun band.
Oh, that's cool. I haven't thought about them since 2003.
Some weird kid at youth group introduced me to DC Talk. Do you remember that band?
Don't.
It's a Christian rock band.
Ooh. I remember Creed. They were vaguely Christian.
Yeah, they were hiding it.
Yeah, they were like secret Christian.
Yeah. So see,
You had the face of like something you wanted to say there.
Yeah.
Maybe held back. Probably good.
probably held back.
Love it.
And then I decided, I don't want to talk about Creed anymore. There's no good road down there.
You can't even make Creed jokes because no one remembers their songs.
Yeah, they kind of faded. They've even mostly faded from the people using them as the whipping boy.
That's true.
Yeah, people have kind of just moved on.
Yeah, they can thank Nickelback for that.
Yeah, and the resurgence of Smash Mouth vis-a-vis bread.
Mm-hmm. And memes.
Uh-huh.
They're big. They're big in the meme world these days.
Yep. Smash Mouth Johnson and Guy Fieri palling around.
I feel like that's like I literally had to stop and be like, "Is that an actual thing?" Because I could see that being a thing.
No, they are friends.
Are they?
Yep.
Are they on a TV show?
His name's Steve something. His actual name.
Oh man, what if
Steve Smash Mouth?
What if they like mix together drivers, dine-ins, and dives?
Uh-huh.
And instead of going to like crappy or like nice places, I guess, like that have good food that he can talk about, they go to old places.
Yeah.
And it's the two of them together, and they fix up like old houses and old buildings and stuff, and they can call it Smash House.
They could call it what?
Smash House.
Smash House. Smash House. That was a long way to go. That was a long road.
I know.
But I'm laughing, so it got there. I know this is a music show, but I'm gonna wrap it up with my famous segment,
Yes.
Unpopular Opinions.
Oh.
I think Guy Fieri is pretty good.
Oh, I don't really have an opinion about him.
Not worthy of the scorn that he receives.
That's fair.
He likes to eat. People always make fun of he eats like this junk food. I'm like,
so he
eats fucking good food.
He did do drivers, dine-ins, and dives, right?
Yeah,
that's his show. Okay, I want to make sure.
Yeah,
I got the right dude.
But he goes around to these places that serve like amazing food, and yeah, you don't eat them all the time.
Well,
because it's not good for you.
It is.
But come on, what are we talking about? If you're talking about good food, some of the good food is bad for you, but it's fucking tasty.
Yeah, well,
and he's just enthusiastic about it. So everyone needs to fuck off.
Well, it's not exactly like they're lying to you in the title of the show.
Yeah.
It's not like he's like talking about going to Michelin star restaurants.
Or talking about healthy eating.
Yeah, it's literally called diners, drive-ins, and dives. Like, what do you expect?
And then he rolls up with his crazy hair and like a convertible with flames on it. And like, what do you expect? What do you think is going to happen now?
Oh man,
he's going to go eat an arugula salad or some kale chips.
I'd watch that show. That'd be kind of a good show. Like, it's the same like TV persona of guy,
but just like super health food.
But it's just he goes to all the places that are in Chef's Table, the Netflix series.
Yeah.
So it's like he's like being served moose lips on like a lake in Canada.
I would watch that.
And he literally rolls up on that lake in his flame-ridden truck.
Yeah.
Or whatever he drives. I don't know. I haven't seen drivers drives in a long time.
Yeah. No, he just goes to play.
I mean, I can imagine what it's like by the name.
Comfortable eating places.
And the few episodes
and
I saw.
Big old things of food.
Nice.
It's good.
I can relate to that.
Yeah. I'd much rather watch someone go to a diner and eat a giant burger than someone go to like the French Laundry in LA. I was watching, like, I follow a bunch of people that live in LA on Instagram.
Sure.
And someone was posting pictures of her meal at the French Laundry, which is like,
oh no, I know the French Laundry. Yeah.
It's famous enough that even plebes out in Colorado know about it.
Well, I mean, I'm a fan of Anthony Bourdain.
Sure.
I follow him on a bunch of stuff, and he talks about it a lot.
And it's like it's the classic, like, what you think of when you think of like hoity-toity restaurant servings, where it's just like one scallop like with a drizzle of sauce on this giant plate.
Sounds nice.
And I looked at it and I'm like, I'd rather have the burger. Like this, what are we doing here?
Yeah. There's
like we're not having a meal, we're having a tasting.
You're having an artistic experience is what's happening.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
If it's pitched as an artistic experience.
Well,
if someone says we're going to dinner,
yeah,
and they take me to an artistic experience,
rather
than dinner, I'm not going to be happy.
That's true, yeah.
You know? but if we're going for an artistic experience, cool.
I feel like if you just called up someone and you're like, "Hey, you want to go to an artistic experience with me?" Like, no. Do you want to go on a Halloween adventure?
Does this involve like painted naked people running in a circle and being hit by flour? I mean, you're not far off.
Yes.
It's powdered sugar, but
it's powdered sugar, and for the price you pay, it's worth it.
You're gonna get so full.
So full.
Okay, so that's good music talk. I think I think that's gonna just about do it for us today.
Are we done? Oh.
Yeah. You can go pretty soon.
Oh.
I know I've been keeping you here, and it's been really tough for you.
I was gonna say it went by so quick, but that's fine. I'll just not say that.
I tried to make you into the heel, and then you really pulled a reversey on me, and now I feel like an asshole. All right, so yeah, that is going to do it for us this week. Jake, if you can rally and maybe tell the folks about the stuff that you want to plug.
No.
All right, so this is going to be tough.
We'll work through it.
Powering through.
Okay. Things I do are graphic design and illustration. You can check them out at www.wakegraphic.com. Or you can check it out. Your face is like, yes, go on. You can check out my illustration stuff at cosamo-art.com.
How's that spelled?
COSAMO-art.com.
There you go. That wasn't so hard.
I'm gonna animate your dance, post it on the blog.
Please do.
Yeah.
We can put it up as a boomerang.
What's a boomerang?
It's like a thing where like a looping, it's a short video thing for Instagram where it like plays forward and then backwards.
Right.
And it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, it's like,
and I don't really like it because
like
nobody
Vine.
does anything interesting with it.
All right. Well, next time I'll try and remember to take a video of that and post it on our.
I saw a kid go down a slide in boomerang, and then she went back up and then back down again. So check out Jake's art stuff.
Tell me more, Brian, about this kid that goes up and down things.
She's the first daughter of two very funny people in Vancouver.
Oh,
one of whom does a podcast that I like.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And speaking of podcasts that you like, I assume you like your other podcast, right?
I like it. I'm all right with it.
All right. That sounds like maybe people should check it out if they like funny things.
Good selling, right?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of talk about a lot of weird stuff in it in a funny way.
Yes,
maybe
the other podcast I do is called As We Go Along. It is an improvised comedy podcast. I invite really funny improvisers in Denver area, to join me, and we make up a fake podcast. Yeah,
and each episode is a different, I guess, like theme to the podcast, right?
Yep.
So what was the most recent one?
Let's see. The one I released this week was with my friends Colleen and Kim.
All right.
And it was a Johnson family Thanksgiving dinner.
Ooh, that sounds like actually pretty fun.
It was super fun. So it was like if a family decided to do a podcast at the dinner at like the table during Thanksgiving dinner.
Wow.
And it was mostly about a child getting her first kill and an old grandpa who was possibly voiced by someone who ruined their throat doing that impression.
Wow.
Possibly me.
Oh, did you have to do old man voice?
I didn't have to, but I wanted
But
to.
you did?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then as soon as we hit stop on recording, I coughed my lungs up for about 10 minutes.
That's method acting.
Because it's hard to do this voice. You're kind of pushing all the time.
I know!
Yeah, it doesn't it's fun to do, but it doesn't feel good.
It's like I smoked my whole life!
So check that out. Anywhere you can find this show, you can find that show on Spreaker.com, our new host.
Yes.
On iTunes, Stitcher.
All those awesome
the
podcasting places.
Yeah, all the places.
And you can find this show over at Weebly at...
It is... you can check out my... Sorry, I'm trying to plug two things at the same time.
Yes.
And it's tough for my brain to work.
Well...
you can check out my podcast, my other podcast at as we go along show.weebly.com.
Okay.
Or you can check out we'll probably still have it. We're working towards moving our stuff to a WordPress site, so that'll probably be up sometimes. Probably by the time you're listening to it, it'll probably be up.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But we might keep the old one up just 'cause.
It'll be around.
So if you want to check that one out, that one's at likeitwasyesterday.weebly.com.
Sure is.
You can check us out, like us on Facebook.
Yes.
Send us messages, like if you have any thoughts, like what was your favorite band? You know, what was that thing that like got you through school? We would love to know.
Or if you have any good topics for future podcasts.
Absolutely.
We have an unofficial list going that every episode I think we talk about putting it online.
We totally do.
We definitely do not.
Definitely do not.
We did make it an actual list on an actual computer though.
It's on a computer.
Yes.
Will you be able to access that? Probably.
Maybe with your hacker skills.
Yeah, if you got use your hacker skills. And
Please don't use your hacker skills.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Anonymous. I didn't mean to tip you off. That's all right. They're broken by now. Anyway, I think that's it. I think we need to leave because we've been talking about plugs too much, right?
Yeah.
So check us out on all the places. Go to iTunes, give us a good rating, all that good stuff. Spread the word. Spread the gospel.
Tell a friend, just like we told all of our friends about all the cool little bands we liked when we were kids.
Exactly. Oh, way to tie it in.
Yeah.
Way to bring it back.
Well, I was going to tell them to pirate a copy of this and put it on a cassette tape, but I don't think people have cassette tapes anymore.
But grab it from Napster.
Yes.
Or LimeWire.
Ooh. Nice.
Yeah.
LimeWire.
Well, that's going to do it. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week on another episode of Like It Was Yesterday. And I have no catchphrase.
Bye, everyone.